Hi everybody, Ruechel here. Welcome to this version of the PCS Journal. So glad you could join us right now. And joining me right now, Dr. Michael Grego, Superintendent of Pinellas County Schools. How you doing, Dr. Grego?
Doing well. How are you, Al?
How's the school year going so far? Good?
So far, so good. I mean, really, it's been a tremendous start, but also we're already 4 or 5 weeks into the school year.
Yeah.
Things are going smooth.
Okay, let me ask you this, because I know the school district for many years gets bashed. I mean, that's what people tend to do. And I know that you're working very hard. You've got new test scores in some of those low-performing schools that have shown really good. But how do you know the difference between, okay, here's the good things that are happening, and then some people look at that and say, well, you're just kind of glossing over all of the bad things that are going on, and you're kind of cheerleading but not really addressing the issue. I know that's a tough way to start off the program, but I want to get your response to that.
You know, for people who, we're in the people business, we're in the kid business, and it is vital and critical that we celebrate student success, because they're the ones that are progressing through this K through 12 continuum. Mm-hmm. And if we don't do that, they get defeated. We can talk about the progress that they're making, and we should. We should also talk about the progress that needs to be made. I think anyone in the public should take a look on our website of the board strategic plan. Our board embraced 2 additional primary goals in this year's strategic plan. One centers around college and career readiness for all students, mm-hmm. Specifically examining our minority students' readiness rates, which are, by the way, getting better.
Yes.
But there's still a gap there, and so there's still work to be done. And the mere fact that the board and through multiple workshops are addressing these problems, they're saying these are the issues that not only plaguing Pinellas County schools, the Tampa Bay area, but schools in the state of Florida and in the nation. And the other primary goal that we've added to our strategic plan is equity and excellence for all. And that goal is specific to our minority students, our Black and Hispanic students, that we are putting on the front burner and saying these gaps, we must narrow. Whether they're graduation gaps, they're achievement gaps, they're discipline disparity gaps. So these things are being talked about and brought right to the forefront, mm-hmm. and examined. And the research that of best practices throughout the nation are being secured, and they're being implemented in our district. Now, saying all that, when we start to increase or improve in certain areas, I think our stakeholders deserve that. For example, we saw 2-3 years ago a real problem in terms of the number of arrests in our school district. Sure. We've reduced that arrest rate by near 40% over the last 2 years. I think it's worth to communicate and to explain that to our stakeholders.
And yet, are we still facing 2 lawsuits? Is the school district still facing 2 lawsuits or not? Where do those stand? Those are
OCR complaints and
OCR
any Office of Civil Rights.
Okay, okay.
And anyone can file an Office of Civil Rights. I mean, those are, I'm not going to say they're common, but they.
But you're not taking it lightly.
No, we fully cooperate with the Office of Civil Rights, and we work through those things, and we try to learn from them, mm-hmm. believe it or not. So, for example, some of the criticisms or discussions about our Title I funds, whether appropriate uses of those Title
mm-hmm.
Is. We had over a 3 to 4 month federal and state audit of our Title Is. It came back with no findings. You know, so do we announce that there's no findings because those are the things that have been reported, or do we just stay quiet on it? If we announce it, as you say, well, it's not a matter of bragging. I think it's great information. And so we're wanting to move forward, continue to improve our school district.
But building trust is tough, isn't it? Because some people are still, they like to look back and go, yeah, but look at all those crazy things the board did 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago. I don't know if we can trust them.
Well, I think that to build trust needs to be to continue the conversation. You know, we're working with community, the faith-based community, the churches, the many advocacy groups, COQUEBs. I mean, we're sitting down and meeting and talking with them right. on a weekly basis. And I think the greatest way to build trust in any relationship is the continued dialogue.
Yeah. And again, in this program, folks, you know me, I ask the tough questions, and I'm glad that you can answer them, because I hear all these complaints and comments, and just trying to bring them up front, because that's what we do here. All right, you've got something called a day of dialogue. Bring your child to school day. Dads, take your child to school day.
Dads, take your child to school day.
Yeah.
Well, not that it might have been planned, but this is a great dovetail into the prior conversation. So here's another example. we have in this country, in this district, in this state, a real discrepancy in the success of academic success of our African American males. So we're taking this day, it's the second annual Dad Take Your Child to School Day, and we're making it a real issue in Pinellas County. We have a prominent national speaker coming in, Coach Tony Dungy, who it will be announced, in fact, today in invitations. We're inviting specific people to look at this issue about how our African American males are doing and how can we improve their success. The day of dialogue that butts right up against his speech at Gibbs High School, by the way, is going to be with regional superintendents from Hillsborough, Manatee, Polk, Sarasota, Pasco, obviously Pinellas, and the Chancellor of Education, Ruechel Lyons, who's a K-12 chancellor, will be coming down here.
Oh, that's great.
All of us will be on the stage, and we're going to be talking about achievement of African American males.
Now, what's the date on that? Do you remember?
It is September 28th. It's a Wednesday.
Write that down. Okay, 28th.
September 28th from about 11:30 to 2 o'clock. So Coach Dungy will be on in the morning, and you know his message. It's about the power and the strength of families and the caring adults. So, and he's obviously pushed all pro dads, which we have in our schools, and so he's going to have an opportunity to really speak to a lot of the fathers and the adults in our community. And following that, we're going to have a panel discussion with the Chancellor and 6 superintendents, all talking about the issues and problems. We're not trying to skirt those, but really have some honest dialogue about some of the challenges that we face in, whether you're in Manatee County, Polk County, Pasco County, and so forth.
Sure. All right. Look forward to that, September the 20th. Got to write that down for Bader's Night because I want to make sure we are there covering that.
I do too.
Okay, we got a referendum coming up, and I realize that your school board, you're elected official on the board, that you're not allowed to tell people how to vote, and we're not telling you how to vote, just more informational. What is this referendum for people that aren't familiar with it?
Well, this referendum started in 2004, and it was when the community spoke very loudly. It was renewed in 2008, and then in 2012, and now we're up again in 2016. It is a referendum to provide a half a mil, excuse me, for specifically for the arts. Music in the our art program, which is second to none, as you know, Al.
That's for sure.
And also intervention in terms of the area of reading, that we need to continue to help some of our most struggling readers. We build classroom libraries. In terms it also funds technology throughout our school district and also supports teachers. It supports teacher salaries to recruit some of the very finest and best teachers into Pinellas County. The important thing about the referendum that people may know, it is supervised and evaluated and assessed through an independent committee, and not from the school district, but people from the community, business people, parents.
To make sure the money is being spent, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And I understand the breakdown is about 80% goes to teacher salaries and 20% goes to those other areas.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So voters have a chance to say yes or no. It's up to you. Just want to make sure that you know that that's going to be on the ballot. Attendance, if you could just get the kids to come to school all the time, because that's a big problem. I had to admit it, when I was in 3rd grade, I was a skipper. I did a lot of skipping. My parents are divorced, so they didn't know about it for about 3 months, and then all of a sudden, hello, I had been skipping classes. How do you make sure kids attend school, especially kids that come from broken homes, or, as we know, from homes where both mom and dads and caregivers have to work?
Well, I want to say thank you to our partners, the Juvenile Welfare Board, because they are partnering with us. This is one of those. I'm going to go back to our strategic plan. What we plan for, we tend to get done. And this year, we decided to jointly work on this issue of attendance, especially some of, as you mentioned, younger children.
Yeah.
Because those are the ages where it's a little bit more on the parent. The children aren't driving themselves to school as they are in high school and so forth. So we want to emphasize that if you're not at school each and every day, you're not going to be learning. You need to be at school. There's no free days. Now, obviously, if you're sick, keep your child at home.
Yeah, right.
But there shouldn't be a day where a parent says, that my child's doing really well, maybe I'll give them that Friday or something. Every day is important in school, so let's make attendance a priority for this community.
All right, ACT scores. Let's talk about those.
Well, we talk about our strategic plan of college and career readiness. We talk about increasing ACT, SAT scores, providing our students an advantage to get into post-secondary, some level of post-secondary education. So the ACT report card came out, and again, for the third year in a row, we are above the state average of 21.1, where the state average was in 19.9.
Well,
we continue to outperform the rest of the state in every one of those subject areas, because the ACT has specific tests in subject areas. So it's good. We feel great about that. What we do with that, Al, is we come back with the curriculum and say, so where are our students maybe not really strong, and perhaps where do we need to strengthen the curriculum? Yeah. So I'm very pleased. I want to thank the teachers who teach those subject areas, because our students are benefiting from that.
And has there been any more said about the bandwagon to, hey, not so many tests? I know we see the story even nationally that, hey, we're doing too much testing. Anything new on that front?
I think we're going to see a lot during this legislative session for the state of Florida. I think with the ESSA, the federal requirements, they provide states some flexibility. So it's going to be a very interesting session to see to what degree do we in the state of Florida want to use that flexibility that the federal government's providing us.
Because a lot of school districts, I know Pasco County has already cut back on some of theirs. Okay, let's talk about some good news. PTA winners. By the way, if you're not a member of the PTA, people, you need to be, because they are such great organizations providing extra stimulus and extra dollars for a lot of these schools that don't have them in other ways. So tell me what's going on with PTA.
PTAs are second to none. We had our back-to-school orientation PTAs at the Pinellas Park High School. I'm going to tell you that I couldn't find a parking spot to parking. There were people all over. So I'm very impressed with the leadership of PTA and also the involvement of PTA, but specifically Douglas Jamerson and Curlew Creek Elementary Schools were recognized this past year for the 2016-18 National PTA Schools of Excellence for their leadership and accomplishments for their schools. But they represent many, many great, strong PTAs throughout our school district, and I too encourage them. Yeah. If you're not a member of the PTA, your parent, please join.
Yeah, and while we're talking about PTAs, because you know PTAs, oftentimes folks raise a lot of extra money for the schools. Getting back to that referendum also provides additional funds to all the schools. I'm thinking like band uniforms for one example, so that it's kind of even all the way across the board, because some PTAs just are able to raise a lot more money and have a lot more parental involvement in other areas. So that's a good tie into that. Healthy schools. Boy, we better hope we're healthy.
We do. You've interviewed Peggy Johns here on the show, and she is such an advocate for healthy schools. Everything from nutrition to physical education to the discussion statewide about recess. But Belcher Elementary School and Curtis Fundamental Schools were rated as a gold level in terms of the Healthy Schools Coalition. Tarpon Springs Elementary, the silver, and Clearwater Fundamental, Lynch, and Pinellas Secondary were the bronze. Out of the state of Florida, we recognized 10 schools. 6 of them came from Pinellas County.
That's great. So, man, that's a great way to end it. Boy, this program really tied together very well. Not bad, huh?
It's all about strategic planning.
Strategic planning. There we go. And we didn't plan it this way, folks. Hey, that's all the time we've got for right now. We'll be back with more of our program right after this, so please stay with us.